welcome back to C2 Novel and Vocab Week 21. If you've already watched my videos, go ahead and skip to the first word, but if this is your first week, welcome and stay and listen. Hi, my name is Miss Kimberly, and the goal of our session is to have students understand each word in our vocabulary workbook and to be cognizant of some phrases from the novel that may be difficult for us to understand. So I'll be here as your guide to help you through and explain it all. So today's agenda, first we'll be going over week 21 vocabulary. Second, we'll go over extra example sentences. In our next video, we'll go over difficult phrases from our novel. And after both videos, we will have to review and self-study. But why are we doing this, Miss Kimberly? First, we're going over the vocabulary for vocabulary acquisition. By learning the definition, synonym, and antonym of a word, this can significantly improve your reading comprehension and enhance your contextual usage. Next, we'll go over extra example sentences, and this is to help with your writing variation. By looking at a variety of example sentences with one specific vocabulary word, students can learn how to use the word in different sentences and make your writing more interesting. So without further ado, please go ahead and get your vocabulary workbook and turn to week 21 with me, week 21. And the first word is wildlife. Everyone there? Wildlife. The synonym is fauna and the part of speech is noun. It means animals living in nature. So this is not the animals like your dog or your cat or your hamster that you take care of at home. These are wild animals in the wild. Animals living in nature, wildlife. In our book it says, protecting wildlife is crucial. If we do not, some animals will disappear forever. So we need to make sure that we're protecting all of the animals out there and the trees and all the other pieces of nature so that they don't disappear. Example, let's read together. 1, 2, 3. Continued development of the area will endanger all wildlife living in the forest. So I know that over in Kijang here in Busan, we've also made a new Lotte World over there. However, before that Lotte World was there, it was all just land and there were probably wildlife living there. So if we continue to develop this area, then it'll endanger the wildlife living there. Make sure that you write down this example sentence in this white box, and let's move on to here. It says, the park is home to a variety of wildlife, including deer, foxes, and birds. So maybe if you've been to the Citizens Park here in Busan, there are also many animals there and wildlife, especially birds. The next one, it says, people are encouraged not to feed the wildlife to keep them safe and healthy. So yes, over here at Cheongsan Park, there are fish in the little lake, but we are encouraged not to feed them because, they have their own food, so we shouldn't be giving them, bits and pieces of chocolate. Next one, number 2, everyone say devastating. Devastating. The synonym is disastrous, and the part of speech is an adjective. It means causing a lot of damage or destruction. Devastating. So lots of damage there. In our book, it says, the effect of trafficking on some tropical birds has been devastating. So because we're, killing and capturing these birds, it's been devastating. It's causing a lot of damage and destruction in the whole ecosystem and area. Let's look at our example. Let's read together. 1, 2, 3. Effects of hurricanes can be devastating, often leaving homes in ruins. So when we have a hurricane, as you can see in the picture above, it can be very devastating because it can damage our homes, it can take the roof off of our house, and etc. Over here, it says I got so stuck on the sentence before. It says, the wildfire had a devastating impact on the forest and its animals. So there are some wildfires. I think we've had some in Korea also, but they're very devastating because it could burn down the trees, which are the homes of many animals. So it's very devastating. Next one is another natural disaster. It says the flood caused devastating damage to farms, leaving many without food. So even the opposite of this, even if it's not a flood or maybe it was a drought when we didn't have enough water, then that also has devastating damage because then we cannot grow our crops. So it's very sad and disastrous. Number 3, everyone say detect. Detect. The synonym is discover and the antonym is miss. It is a verb and it means to notice something that is partly hidden or not clear. So detect, to find out, to be able to find it out. Detect. In our book, it says some species of birds look very similar. So it is difficult to detect differences between them. So say that there's a bird that's black and it has maybe an orange beak, but there are so many different birds just like that description, so it's hard to detect the difference between them. Example, let's read together. 1, 2, 3. The doctor detected an irregular heartbeat during my health examination. Maybe it went and then paused a little bit and then paused again. So detect, to find out, to notice something that is wrong. Over here, it says she used her magnifying glass to detect tiny details in the painting. I've been to one of the arts shows over here at Bexco. Maybe you guys have been to it too. But you may need a magnifying glass or you can get really close to it and look at it. But there are many tiny details that we can detect in different types of paintings and different types of art. Next one, it says the dog's sharp sense of smell helps it detect hidden objects. So say that, a dog buries its bone somewhere, it's able to find it very quickly because its nose can detect where it had buried it before. Next one, number 4, everyone say seize. Seize. The synonym is to grab and the antonym is free, to let it go. It's a verb and it means to take hold of suddenly and forcibly. So it's not just like, oh, I'm going to take that. But seize means to take it forcefully. In our book it says, the police seized a truck that was carrying hundreds of wild birds. So they're able to capture that truck and they're able to take that truck away from its owner because it had all these wild birds in it. Example, let's read together. 1, 2, 3. The agents finally seized the dangerous criminal who had been on the run. So this criminal was running away from the police and finally seized him. They were able to take hold of him. They were able to grab him and find him and take him to jail. Whew. Over here, it says the pirate tried to seize the treasure chest from the ship. So the pirate was trying to take it forcibly from the other ship, but maybe they succeeded, maybe they didn't. Next one, it says the teacher had to seize the notes being passed in the class. So maybe they're writing a note in class and they're just giggling, everyone's opening up, passing it around, and then finally the teacher found out and then she seized it, she took it away. And number 5, everyone say deliberately. Deliberately. The synonym is intentionally and the antonym is unknowingly. So it is an adverb and it means done in a way that was planned and not by chance. So I really worked hard on planning it. It was on purpose. It was not on accident. And in our book it says, and slowly and deliberately, I tried to remember. So, these are our novel words now. I was like, wait a minute, that sentence sounds really familiar. This is when Ivan was trying to remember the past so that he can tell Ruby a story from the past. Deliberately, in a way that is planned. Example, let's read together. 1, 2, 3. My cat deliberately knocked over the vase so she could get my attention. So the cat saw the vase and wanted to knock it over deliberately, on purpose, intentionally, so that the owner will be like, what are you doing? Over here, it says the artist deliberately chose bright colors to make the painting cheerful. So instead of using black and gray and brown, they chose maybe hot pink and neon yellow and highlighter green to make it more cheerful. Next, it says they deliberately avoided the busiest roads to reach their destination faster. So there's a lot of traffic here in Busan also, but in order to get to our destination faster, we should deliberately avoid those busy roads. So maybe take a little shortcut a different way. And number 6, the word is squabble. The synonym is bicker and the antonym is agree. It's a verb and it means to argue noisily about something that is not very important. So just to fight, but not over something important. In our book, it says, we squabbled now and then as families will. So maybe you have a brother or sister and you guys tend to fight and just bicker about things that aren't really important. That's squabbling. Next, let's read together. 1, 2, 3. They squabbled noisily about who would get to sit in the front seat. My brother and I used to always squabble about this. I always wanted to sit in the front seat, but because he's older, he always sat there and I would fight with him, but then I would lose and sit in the back. Over here, it says they squabbled over the TV remote, neither wanting to watch the other's show. This also happened with me and my brother. We would always fight about who got to watch what on TV. But then later, we would get in trouble because, let's look at the next sentence. It says the parents told their kids to stop squabbling and get along. So just like this sentence, my parents would always tell me and my brother to stop bickering, to stop fighting, and to just get along. Squabble. Number 7, the word is bedraggled. And the synonym is scruffy, and the antonym is neat. It's an adjective. It means wet or dirty from being in rain or mud. Bedraggled. So this picture and this word always reminds me of Because of Winn-Dixie, because the first scene, she's so dirty and bedraggled. In our book, it says, it had a pony ride, a wooden train that bustled around the parking lot, a few bedraggled parrots, and a surly spider monkey. So, bedraggled, wet or dirty from rain or mud. Let's move on to the example sentence. 1, 2, 3. My dog was bedraggled, so I tried to avoid his wet, muddy paws. Yes, but you gotta take that bedraggled dog and wash it. Over here, it says, after playing in the rain, the children came inside looking bedraggled and shivering. So they're all outside playing in the rain. Do you guys play in the rain? I don't think that's very good for you. Next line, it says the bedraggled backpack had mud stains all over it from being dropped in the puddle. Let me tell you a story. I went on a bike ride, but then we had to cross like a little river. Not even a river. It was just a stream of water, but I got so scared and then I fell and I was bedraggled. My shirt was bedraggled. My pants were bedraggled. I was bleeding. Yikes. Wet and dirty from the mud. Number 8. The word is sullen. Everyone say sullen. The synonym is sulky and the antonym is friendly. It's an adjective and it means angry and unwilling to smile or be pleasant to people. So sullen, you're always just like the picture above here, frowning and not happy. In our book, it says, Mac grew sullen. I grew bigger. I became what I was meant to be, too large for chairs. So Mac became sullen. Maybe this was after his wife had left him in our book. I'm not quite sure where it is, but maybe that is correct. I think I am. Example, let's read together. 1, 2, 3. Todd had a sullen expression because he was upset with his mom. So very angry expression. Not happy. Over here, it says, after losing the game, he sat in the corner looking sullen and upset. So, we lost the soccer game again today. To look sullen. Next one, it says the sullen look on his face made it clear that something was bothering him. So maybe some people aren't able to hide their emotions and they just look sullen all the time. So you know that something is wrong with them because they're not smiling. Number 9, everyone say trudge. Trudge. The synonym is plod, and it is a verb. It means to walk slowly with heavy steps, typically because of exhaustion, meaning you're walking really slowly and big, boom, boom, and stomping because you're usually tired. In our book, it says, Ruby trudges behind Mac, her head drooping. Endlessly, they circle the ring. So here, Mac was trying to train her to, do shows and stuff, but Ruby was not happy about it, especially with what happened to Stella. Example, let's read together. 1, 2, 3. The tired traveler trudged, stepping along with heavy footsteps. Very good. Wow, look at that alliteration there. Tired traveler trudged. All those T sounds. Whew. Over here, it says, after the long hike, they had to trudge back up the hill to the campsite. So not only were they hiking up, but maybe they hiked back down, but then they had to go back up again because that's where their campsite was. Back and forth. To be walking in a very tired way. Next, it says, he trudged into school, exhausted after staying up late to study for his test. So he was so tired, he walked into the school because he stayed up all night studying. Number 10, everyone. The word is unfurl. Everyone say unfurl. The synonym is unroll, and the antonym is to fold. It is a verb, and it means to unfold or open up something that is folded or rolled up. This word always reminds me of the movie Moana, because Moana had to unfurl her sails for her little boat thing. In our book, it says, when the brush meets the damp paper, pink petals of color unfurl like morning flowers. So here it's not literally to open up something, but the pink paint unfurls. It spreads open like how the morning flowers go and unfurl and bloom. Next example, let's read together. 1, 2, 3. The sailors unfurl the sails by undoing the ties that keep them rolled up. Just like my Moana sentence. Over here, it says the flag began to unfurl slowly in the breeze, revealing its bright colors. Ooh. So maybe it was just all down, but then with the wind, it started to unfurl and just open up. Next, it says the gymnast began to unfurl the ribbon as she twirled across the floor. So you know how there's some gymnasts, they twirl some ribbon in the air and they had to unfurl it. Next one, 11. Everyone say scornful. Scornful. The synonym is contemptuous and the antonym is polite. It's an adjective and it means showing disrespect or disregard. So being very rude, not nice, and yes, bad. In our book it says, Bob gives a scornful laugh. Crawled away is more like it. This is when Ruby had hit Mac, and then they were talking about how Mac walked away, but then here Bob was showing, crawled away is more like it because Mac was hurt from getting hit. Our example sentence, it says, his scornful remarks always make her feel unappreciated and disrespected. Oh, this is so sad. So we should never say some scornful remarks. We should always be polite and nice. And if it's not nice, we shouldn't say it at all. Over here, it says, he made a scornful remark about the idea, saying that it would never work. Doesn't that hurt your feelings when you have an idea and someone says something scornful like that? Next, it says he felt hurt by her scornful tone during the argument. So she didn't say anything mean, but instead her scornful tone, meaning her the way that she was talking, the intonation was not very nice and it was very disrespectful. It looks like me in this picture. 12, everyone say furrowed. Furrowed. The synonym is wrinkled and the antonym is smooth. It's an adjective and it means marked with lines or wrinkles in the skin, usually caused by worry. So if I were to smile and I have wrinkles here, that's not really furrowed because it's not usually caused by worry. But if I were to go like this, these wrinkles, yeah, spread it out. Don't do it, don't do it, don't do it. Those wrinkles means that it is furrowed. In our book it says, I look so angry with my furrowed brow and clenched fists. He looked super angry there. Next example, let's read together. 1, 2, 3. Her furrowed brows indicate that she is upset and worried about the situation. So yes, but continuing to make this face will make those wrinkles stay, so don't do it. Over here, it says, he looked at the math problem with a furrowed forehead, unsure of the answer. So instead of brows being furrowed, they're the furrowed, what is this? Forehead. Next one, it says, the farmer's face was furrowed from years of working in the sun. So he has all these different wrinkles from working so hard outside. P-U, stench. Everyone say stench. The synonym is odor and the antonym is scent. So the reason why people say scent and odor are also different types of words for a smell, but however, odor is more so about a negative or bad smell, and scent is usually used for a good smell. So they are opposite here, okay? It is a noun and it means a strong and very unpleasant smell, a stench. In our book it says, that stench is unbelievable, and I found yellow paint in my tail this morning. The stench of the finger paint that they had. Example, let's read together. 1, 2, 3. After hiking up the mountain, the woman's own stench was simply unbearable. So maybe this woman started to, sweat a lot and smell, so she had a stench. Over here it says, the stench from the garbage can make everyone cover their noses. Sorry, this should say make, not made. So the stench from the garbage, ew, it smells so bad. Next one, it says, the skunk spray left a stench that lingered for days. Oh, if you've ever been sprayed by a skunk, I hope no one has. But if you've ever smelled that stench before, it does not leave right away. It stays for a while. Number 14, everyone. The word here is not gnaw. The G is silent and we just say gnaw. Gnaw. The synonym is chew, and it's a verb. It means to bite something repeatedly, to gnaw on something. In our book it says, what is this plan of yours anyway? Bob asks. If you explained it to me, I could help out. He gnaws at his tail. So he was chewing and biting his tail there because he had the paint on it. Next example, let's read together. 1, 2, 3. Max always gnaws on my toothbrush, leaving behind his teeth marks. Yikes. If my dog were to gnaw on my toothbrush, I would throw that away and get a different one. Here it says, she watched the squirrel gnaw at the nut until it cracked open. And then it cracked open and they're able to eat the nut inside. Next it says, the dog was left alone with a bone to gnaw while they went to the store. So, gnaw. 15, everyone say edible. Edible. These are now our textbook words. The antonym is inedible, meaning we can't eat it. It's an adjective and it means fit or safe to be eaten. Edible means you are able to eat it. In our book it says the most popular bugs to eat are crickets and termites. But lots of other bugs are edible too. And You guys, in Korea, we eat 번데기. That is also edible, but it is also a bug, I believe. Example, let's read together. 1, 2, 3. These flowers are not only decorative, but also edible. They are safe to eat. Ooh. Have you ever eaten like the flower decoration on a cake before? Usually they're made out of frosting, so they are edible. Over here it says they picked some berries from the bush, making sure they were edible before eating them. So yes, don't just choose berries off of any bush and just start eating them, because that would not be good. Make sure that they're edible first. Next it says the cake looked beautiful, but every part of it was actually edible. So we could eat everything. So maybe they're talking about this cake. You can eat everything part of it. Number 16, everyone say delicacy. Delicacy. It's a noun and it means something pleasing to eat that is considered rare or expensive. So it's very awesome and great to eat, but we consider it a delicacy because we won't be able to find it very often or it costs a lot of money. In our book, it says lots of people would never eat lobsters and other sea-dwelling bugs we consider delicacies. So some people don't eat lobsters because they think that they're like the cockroaches of the sea. But really, it's so delicious, isn't it? It's a delicacy for me. Next one. Example, let's read together. 1, 2, 3. Caviar is considered a delicacy because it is rare and expensive. Yes, I've had caviar maybe once. Over here, it says in some cultures, delicacies such as fried insects are considered a tasty treat. I make these facial expressions because I cannot imagine eating different types of bugs, but yikes, it is a delicacy in some countries. People love it. Next one, it says fresh lobster is considered a delicacy in many coastal areas. Very good. Number 17, everyone say non-existent. Non-existent. The synonym is imaginary and the antonym is real. It's an adjective and it means not existing or not real. So non meaning not, existent means living, so this whole word means not living or not real. In our book it says, otherwise her cooking skills were non-existent, meaning she can't cook. Not good at it. However, I am good at it. Example, let's read together. 1, 2, 3. Although creatures like unicorns are non-existent, many children believe in them. So maybe you still think a unicorn is real, but really it's a fantasy and imaginary and non-existent thing. Over here it says the noise stopped suddenly, and the sound of the birds seemed non-existent for a moment. Maybe we heard all these birds out there, and then all of a sudden, it was gone. Next one, it says the chance of winning the game seemed non-existent after they lost their best player. So maybe their best player for the soccer team, they got hurt and they had to leave the game. So now the chances of winning was non-existent, meaning it won't happen. Number 18, everyone say crestfallen. Crestfallen. The synonym is dejected and the antonym is encouraged. It's an adjective and crestfallen means disappointed and sad because of having failed unexpectedly. So maybe you're like, oh, I'm going to do this great, and then it wasn't that great. Crestfallen, disappointed. In our book it says, in the end, Martina didn't win the cook-off because she wasn't crestfallen. And let's read the example together. 1, 2, 3. The boy was crestfallen when no one chose him to be on their soccer teams. So maybe he was like, oh, I'm so excited. I'm going to be playing soccer with the cool guys, with the older guys. But then he was crestfallen because no one chose him. Over here, it says, after losing the game, he felt crestfallen and didn't want to talk to anyone. So please don't talk to me. I just need some time. I'm sad. I'm crestfallen. Next one says she felt crestfallen when she didn't get the job she had worked so hard for. So maybe she wanted to be a fashion designer, right? And then she, drew all these great pieces of clothes, but she didn't get the job, so she was crestfallen, sad, disappointed. Now, let's move on to our speech words. Number 19, the word is suitable. Everyone say suitable. The synonym is appropriate, and the antonym is unsuitable. It's an adjective and it means acceptable or right for a particular purpose or occasion, meaning it suits it. It goes along with it very well. Let's read the example together. 1, 2, 3. Using an umbrella and wearing a raincoat are suitable ideas on rainy days. So yes, you don't want to be wearing like your flip-flops and short sleeves and nothing that's covering you from the rain. So an umbrella and a raincoat are suitable. Over here, it says the teacher suggested a suitable book for her to read during the summer break. So maybe you guys can ask your teachers for some book recommendations and say, what do you think is suitable for my level to read this summer? And then they can give you a recommendation. Next one, it says the park has a suitable area for kids to play safely and enjoy the outdoors. So it's an area, a play area, maybe a playground that's great and suitable and appropriate for children. Number 20, the word is engaged. Everyone say engaged. The synonym is active and the antonym is disengaged. It's an adjective and it means involved in something. So you're engaged in it, you're doing it. Okay? Let's read the example together. 1, 2, 3. She is very engaged since she participates in numerous community events. So she's involved in many different types of events here. So she's very engaged. Over here it says, he was so engaged in his book that he didn't hear the doorbell ring. Meaning he was so involved and so soaked up in his book, he couldn't hear the doorbell. And our last example sentence, it says she stayed engaged during the class, taking notes and asking questions, which is great. I hope all of you who are watching were engaged during this video and also stay engaged in your class. And finally, our mission. It says, what is a delicacy that you had in the past? Don't forget your name, class, and week, and write it down for me. And now it is time for review and self-study. This is for contextual mastery. Review all of our words again, please. Read it out loud and complete your vocabulary homework pages. So thank you for joining me again this week, and I'll see you guys in the next video.